Okay, Mom, this letter's from JoJo. JoJo Cormier was a long-time boarder at Mom's house, and he considers her his other mom. JoJo is very sorry he can't be here, Mom, but he sent this lovely letter. It says, "Hi, Ma, this is JoJo. I have many fond memories of my life with Ma. I will share only a few, since those of you who know me understand that I never learned to make a long story short. At 17 years of age, I hopped on a bus and headed north to Flin Flon. My mom in Nova Scotia told me I had a distant relative in Flin Flon by the name of Pat DeVoe with a wife named Fran. Fran was originally Fran Hall from Flin Flon. Pat and Fran kindly took me in when I arrived in Flin Flon, but it was just a little crowded in their company apartment with Pat, Fran, and their 3 kids. They introduced me to this wonderful lady whom everyone in Flin Flon called Ma. Ma changed my life and taught me so many lessons." And he's listed the lessons here. 1, Ma taught me that having a generous heart opens up all kinds of possibilities in life. She took me in and treated me like one of her sons. All of Ma's kids moved away as they got older, and she must have been really lonely because I lived with her for the next 22 years. My wife says she'll never last that long. Number 2, Ma taught me that you can teach an old dog new tricks and live to tell the tale. Picture this. There sits a 1974 Dodge truck in Ma's yard just waiting for one brave or crazy person to teach Ma how to drive. So I said, "Ma, it's time you learned to drive." Did I mention she was 60 years old? Ma never turned down a challenge. What I didn't notice was that Ma was about 3 feet tall. I was closer to 6 feet. So there we were together in this truck with Ma barely able to see over the steering wheel. I was scrunched up into a pretzel shape with my knees behind my ears, my left hand on the steering wheel so she wouldn't wipe out the cars heading to Flin Flon, and my right hand hugging the passenger side door in case I had to make a quick escape. Do you remember that, Mom? Number 3, Ma taught me to believe in miracles. We lived through our first driving lesson. Ma got smart and got her learner's license from certified instructors who were comfortable seeing their lives pass before their eyes. She got her license, passing with flying colors. Number 4, Ma taught me persistence. Coming in from Pistol Lake, I would be approaching town and to my horror would catch a glimpse of a giant green Dodge truck heading towards me on the sidewalk. Inside the truck was our beautiful dog, Sheba, looking terrified, with his paw on the steering wheel helping Ma drive, and his other paw holding onto the passenger side door for her dear life. It seems that Sheba was the only passenger Ma ever drove around. Dogs are so loyal. 5, Ma taught me to use strategies to handle my ADHD. At 28 years of age, I started building my cabin at Pistol Lake, and Ma was a big help. She was great at helping me organize my trips into the bush since I was constantly losing my paper notes. She came up with this revolutionary idea of using a 3-inch wide, 3-foot long piece of lumber as my list, so I would remember what to buy in town. It is kind of difficult to lose such a permanent and long reminder list, so this worked great for me. Little did I know, she had invented the first BlackBerry. Ma was an innovator. I never lost a list when I used my giant board. Number 6, Ma taught me to be fearless. Ma came into the bush with me many times. One year I had the roof and walls up on my cabin at Pistol Lake. However, I had 3 beams that needed to be added to the cabin. The plan was that I would lift the logs and Ma would crawl underneath the cabin at 67 years of age, where she would wedge the logs so that they would be tight against the ground. There was one small problem. There was not much clearance between the ground and the bottom of the cabin. So we got it all wedged, mission accomplished, when Ma hollered, "JoJo, I'm stuck. I'm stuck, JoJo." We got the logs wedged, and then I ended up yanking Ma out from under the cabin by her feet. She was a great sport, and she was always willing to give me a hand or a foot. Number 7, Ma knew how to have a good time the East Coast way. Joe is from Nova Scotia. My parents came to Flin Flon several times over the 22 years I lived with Ma. On one visit, my dad brought 100 pounds of fresh lobster up. We had half of Flin Flon over to Ma's place for a lobster feast. It was just like being back in Nova Scotia, only it was on her front lawn in Flin Flon. We even had lobster races on the lawn. Number 8, Ma taught me to value friendships. Over the years working for contractors, I would leave the house at 6 a.m. on Sundays and walk to work. Ma would be getting ready to go to church. The minute Ma opened the back door, Sheba the dog would take off to her second favorite home at Betty and Bob's place, knock on the door and snuggle into bed with the kids. Sheba would help them prepare dinner, and when Ma and I arrived for supper, we'd have a grand time taking Sheba back home with us. Sheba was a wonderful friend to Ma and a huge part of our family. Number 9, Ma taught me about manners. Ma's son David, with his airline connections, helped Ma travel to visit her grandchildren every year. I would work in the mines, look after the bills, and renovate her house with the help of Wayne Bailey. One year, Ma flew out to Halifax. I was already there visiting my family. Ma, my mom, and I borrowed my dad's SUV. Having lived through the driving lessons with Ma, I did all the driving on this trip. We headed off to Cape Breton. We traveled all over visiting relatives on Cape Breton Island, checking out museums, quilt shops, and craft stores. One afternoon at my parents' house in Shubenacadie, I was having a nap on the living room couch. My mother, Lucy, and Ma were in the kitchen. My mother asked Ma, "Mary, would you like tea or coffee today?" There was a very long hesitation. Then Ma said, "I think I'll have tea today, Lucy." My mom came from a large family, and she was used to putting 5 bags into the pot, using them over and over. Ma had had it with the 5 tea bag thing. She could not drink another cup of tea that was as thick as tapioca. Ma lost it, but was struggling to remain polite. She yelled, "No, no, no, Lucy, just 1 bag, please." My mother was very confused about this change in Ma's tea drinking habits for years. So many good memories. I would like to say to the Crerar family and to Ma, thank you for adopting me and including me in your family circle. Through you, I fell in love with Flin Flon and the North Country. Ma, it has been a privilege to have been mothered by you, to have shared so many adventures together, and to have had you as such an influential person in my life. Love from JoJo, who wants me to tell you that his wonderful, beautiful, amazing wife wrote this because he still hasn't learned to write sentences, although he has ditched the message board for a cell phone and sticky notes. And Karen told me that JoJo cried when he proofread this back to her. There you go.